Nostalgic air, classical feel, and performance, Hi. Snipes once again with another video on guns people like to make fun of, and unlike the Scar video last week, I won't be arguing the case for this rifle. It's just not competitive, and that's something you don't see a lot. Breaking down the handful of pros and mountain of cons for the SKS, I'm Snipes, and you're watching Gun Guide. I'll preface this one by saying it. This is the worst gun of the game. Forget the Uzi or the Scar, they're at least defensible, but could use a little love. This gun isn't like that. This gun's pointless. I actually quite like the SKS. The demand for DMRs in the game is high, and this sort of fits the category of something which is better at range and fires in the semi-auto range of precise but rapid shooting. Conceptually, this gun's great, filling the position of a light marksman, but without needing the class title, letting the advisor do what the advisor does, filling in soft positions where necessary, but the SKS doesn't do this. As a matter of fact, the SKS doesn't do a lot, or at least not a lot right. In real life, I have to admit I'm not fully clear on what this is. I'm venturing to guess it's a Russian-built battle rifle based off the AK platform, as it takes the same caliber and even magazines. Whether or not they're internally similar is for the gun nuts in the comments to sound off on, but in the game there is no real comparison. The AK represents a standard among weapons in Insurgency, very rounded and capable in many scenarios and functionally accessible to just about everyone. The SKS is just a bad AK.
Okay. This is brilliant. But I like this.
I actually enjoy the tactical, controlled nature mixed with the wooden furnishing of the SKS. I even like the way the rail-mounted adapter looks for once. The semi-auto firing is great and the pacing really brings it home. The aesthetic and bassy noises are appealing as well, and it sounds like it should hit hard. But it doesn't hit hard, and that's why none of these things matter, and why I may not be the first to say it, but I'll be the loudest. Please buff this gun. The SKS isn't bad per se, but it's definitely not good. You can really manage to make plays with it in just about any other gun. Play slow, methodical, and be aware of your surroundings, and an Uzi can be just as good as an MP7 for wiping out waves upon waves of players in head-on conflict, but I find that out of every weapon I've tried, popping off with this is the exception, not the rule. Because it isn't equipped to take on more than one person at all. Forget the 20-round AK mag type, which is by the way lower than any actual AK for some reason. The issue here is the fire rate. Now, I complain a lot about guns like the AS Valor, the FAMAS having bad capacity and dumping them too fast. The opposite applies here. Good luck getting rid of half the magazine before getting outshot by even the most basic rifles at ranges you're supposed to be operating at. The AK-762 caliber is relatively large because of how fast they come out. However, the SKS shooting something with identical damage doesn't even have a third of the fire rate, meaning it's just plain bad. The 160 rounds per minute isn't too hot when you're not one-hitting on a body shot. Semi-auto doesn't mean it shoots as fast as you click. Believe me, I can click way faster than what this gun puts out, so you've got the rate of fire of an SVD without the damage to back it up, and the damage of an AK without the rate of fire to make that work. It's like this gun doesn't know what it's trying to be, and it just sucks. I'm not even going to cover the lower recoil and marginally better penetration and velocity compared to an AK, because when you're short on the things that matter the most, the details just won't make a difference. Bruh. Most every gun outshoots you unless you place your hits extremely well, but if I made every guide assuming every shot is a headshot, the M249 SAW would just be the best gun, and I'd be a god at the new arcade mode.
I just do one
headshot.
Get good.
You better stop!
If your aim is roughly average like mine, and someone using literally anything short of a Makarov is at least competent, you're dead in a direct engagement. Forget cutting them off at range, everyone doing this too will be smart enough to run something which actually kills with a reasonable number of hits, like an M24 or the SVD. Gameplay is more or less the same at any range. Play strategically, try your best to land the first hit before they can react, so hopefully they don't have time to retaliate when you follow up. Penetration and indirect fire are your friends. Outside of that, good luck. I found the most concrete strategy for succeeding with this gun is to find the idiot camper in the back of precinct and blow his head off, then take whatever he's using because it's almost definitely going to be better than this. Proceed to wipe out his team from behind, rinse and repeat as necessary. Before I wrap up an otherwise short analysis of why to avoid this gun unless you don't care about winning, I think it's worth saying from my very professional and experienced standpoint what changes could be implemented to fix this gun. First and foremost, I would round up that fire rate to a nice even 200, or even just slap on another 100 and make it 260. This thing needs to be at least firing close to half of what an AK does to go anywhere. It also needs better capacity, or at the very least don't make the extended mag to bring you up to 30 rounds cost 2 credits. I would personally make that a one stock extended mag available just like with the actual AKs. Also, drop the recoil even more. This thing should be a complete laser without any assistance. It's low as is, but fine doesn't cut it. Velocity and penetration could use a little boost as well. Maybe throw in a faster reload and pay to win DLC skin, and I'd say you're at least set to stand a chance against most other weapons.
It's also worth mentioning I'm not a developer, please don't sue me for not being good at game design.
And finally, I'll just put this out there. If some significant buff is made to this gun, or even hopefully a rework, I'll gladly do a follow-up gun guide and archive this one. I know the Insurgency devs are active about creating content, but to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of meaningful changes made to any weapons recently, and I know for a fact there's a lot of them that could be really done with a polish. And that just about concludes my thoughts on this piece. A classic aesthetic and feel, but a subpar performance, making it something which looks pretty on a shelf, but functionally has dwindling relevancy. To address the elephant in the room, I just got to 1,000 subs as of writing this script. This is completely whack. It's also one of the necessary boxes to be checked for YouTube monetization. And while the path there is still a ways to go, I wouldn't have made it anywhere along that way without any of you. So thanks, really. Yes, there's going to be a special in the works, but I'm really not at a place where making mini videos on the reg is in the cards. Hopefully I'll be able to talk more about that and what you can expect from here in a future video, but until then I'll just say one more big thank you. And as always, this has been the SKS, I'm Snipes, and you've been watching Gun Guide. I'll see you out there in Insurgency.